Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your October 2022 reading. Happy early birthday to the October Scorpios. So let's start off with some astrology. We've got some good news. As of October 2nd, Mercury goes direct in Virgo. Mercury is going to transit Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio all in the month of October. So it is just zipping through. So you can already see now how Mercury being retrograde at the end of September, it's gaining some information that it will then bring through Libra and drop off to you at the very end of the month. The World, the Ten of Wands, and then the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So we have a full moon in Aries, right, which will be there. The full moon will be there with Jupiter. So for you, that has to do with work situations, especially if we're talking about Scorpio rising. And just Scorpio sun in general, it's health, it's healing. But for Scorpio rising specifically, it's work situations where you're ready to evolve. Now, what that means for some of you, if you can see here from these cards, is that evolution may take on the form of a complete overhaul. You see the new path, you see perfectly well where you're going, but it requires that you get off the road that you're on. And you're excited about it and you want to do it, but it's still not the easiest thing in the world because you will have to, in some respects, start over. And that's not, I don't know what's going on with my table right now, but it's very, oh, there's something on the table. I was like, what is this? I'm so sorry. See, now in the middle of this reading, I have to get up and clean it because I can't just deal with that. Sorry. It's unacceptable. I don't even know what that was. I think somebody put something down on my table without asking. There's a couple of things on here. I'm so sorry to have to do this while the video is going on. Okay. I'm back with the great audio. Hey. So you do feel, in some respects, like you have to start over. And by the time we get to Sagittarius season, you're definitely feeling it. Like, did I make the right choice? Is this even the path that I should be on? The cards are like, yeah, for sure, this is the path you should be on. This is the path, right? This is the path you've been looking for. Yes, it requires exiting some situations. Yes, it requires exiting some pretty stable situations, actually. But they're just not serving you. Now, if this is about relationships, ooh. If this is about relationships, then let's look at this through the lens of Mercury moving into Libra on October 11th. Because, again, if you're a Scorpio rising, that's your 12th house. So Mercury in Libra, that's your secrets coming out. That's your looking back and not feeling very good about what you see back there, either if it's out of lack or a lack of acknowledgement. There's this need when Mercury moves into Libra, there's this need for you to notice where you haven't been celebrating your wins and really go back and give yourself some very necessary flowers. It's a good time to take anything that Mercury wants to make you feel bad about and turn it into something positive. If there are certain flaws coming to mind, certain mistakes you've made, don't try to conflate what happened then with the risks that you're being asked to take now. So let's go back here. If this is about relationships, especially if this is about a Sag or a Cancer or another Scorpio like yourself, there is a back and forth here. You get attention from them. They are a bit distant. They get attention from you. You are a bit distant. All these sort of games after the 24th, when the sun enters your sign with Venus together, these games will end. The reason the games go on until the 24th is because as of October 11th, Mercury isn't just in Libra. The Sun is also there. Venus is also there. So that triumvirate of Mercury, the Sun, and Venus really does spice up the game playing. And as every sign is a reaction to the sign before it, you're not all that interested in this kind of game playing. You find it to be irresponsible and silly. And so, excuse me, your general sense throughout Libra season may be, this is irresponsible and silly. I should be focusing more on work. And yet, because of these Mercury transits, you are hearkening back to things that, well, you're hearkening back to all sorts of things that need to be spoken about at a very specific point, which is that new moon solar eclipse in your sign. And that happens on the 25th. And as soon as that happens, things go into overdrive. You have a lot to say, but the power with which you can say them, especially if you're dealing with a maternal figure, authority figure, someone who has quite a big ego. If this is specifically a Leo, there are things that you should have said to them already. There are things that you really regret not saying earlier. Okay, all of this after the new moon solar eclipse, all of this comes out. And you have the words. Excuse me, you have the words and you're excited about using them. You you don't want to be the letting go and elevating your frequency by letting go. Yeah, it may be the hardest part, but you don't want to be held back by your own sentimentality anymore, because I think you realize that most of your sentimentality, all it does is benefit other people, right? Excuse me. It's a hard thing to talk about. I think your sentimentality, as much as you try to hide it, is really obvious. And people very obviously take advantage of it. You just can't see it. So when it's time to elevate, when it's time to, focus on yourself, and part of that is letting go of the things that are the hardest to let go of, the things that have the most hold on you. That sentimentality really does work against you. And the people who you should let go of, and the situations that are mediocre in comparison to where you are and where you're going, they know that too. And they'll prey on that. They'll boost up certain situations purposefully because they know that it'll make you react a certain way. They'll play up certain emotions that have to do with feeling, abandoned, or make you feel like you're being disloyal by pointing out really obvious truths. Your past trauma, your past wounds, your past self, anyone or anything in your life that's associated with it, when you get to this new moon solar eclipse, it really stands out. And it gives you a lot of insight, gives you a lot of power. You're able to accomplish a lot with just the acknowledgement of these wounds that are still bleeding, right? But the important thing about this revelation, here are the wounds from the past. They're still bleeding. This old self is still present because these old wounds are still bleeding. The first thing you're going to want to do is let go of anything that's still keeping those wounds open. Those wounds aren't just staying open on their own. They're not just wounds that don't heal. All wounds heal. Only the ones that keep being open don't heal. So you have this double whammy, new moon, solar eclipse in your sign that's like, here are the wounds from the past that are keeping your old self tethered to you. And boom, here are the things that keep opening those wounds as well. That's quite a combination of information, right? That's a lot of info, and it's heavy, and there's a lot that you can do with that information, but the most important thing you should be doing with it, you can alchemize that into just upping your frequency, because that's going to bring you all the things that you don't necessarily ever want to chase, but that you need, right? So companionship, obviously being one of them. This larger purpose, this larger dream being another. So feeling very fulfilled once you can see where the wounds are, but once you choose not to, there's a lot of ways that you could react to those wounds. You could want to get back every single person that's ever done anything to you. You could identify every one of those wounds and then identify every person associated with those wounds and identify every person that they love associated with. You could do all types of Scorpio shit right now if you wanted to. But the fact that you choose by the end of October to use this information to evolve and up your frequency, that's so dope, because it just shows you how much growth is going on with you. You can still be petty. Sure, we can all still be petty. But this type of information that you're about to get at this new moon, this is the type of stuff that would make you very, very petty. The full moon in Aries generally would make you very petty. And instead, you're focused on your health. You're focused on your healing. You're focused on evolving. The full moon in Aries is where you get ready for the evolution. The new moon solar eclipse is where you get the information that you need for that evolution. So in the middle, you're just building this enthusiasm, right? Now, what we're going to do in the extended is we're going to keep these cards and we're going to talk more about this work situation that wants to pop off and how your purpose ties into that. We're going to talk about the health situation more fully. And the other thing that I think is important to go into is the Jupiter retrograde that happens on the 29th and what that means for you because of where it is in your chart, again, especially if you're a Scorpio rising. But we're going to shuffle through for the Jupiter retrograde as well. So we keep going with that reading. People have been asking lately, how do you get the extended? What is the extended? So the extended is just this reading continuing, and that is available on Patreon or Vimeo. Those links are below. I love you. Happy birthday. It's your season very, very soon. And your birthdays begin at the end of the month. It's really exciting. It means that we've come to that beautiful point in the fall where, everything is magical and the veil between the worlds gets very thin and all the masks and all the truth that those masks show us comes out. Your season is very much so the season of truth telling that we all have to prepare ourselves for. So happy Libra season. Happy October. Happy early birthday, inshallah. And I'll see you in the extended. I love you.